Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this, our regularly scheduled city council meeting. It is Tuesday, July 15th, 2025, and I will call this meeting to order. We're going to begin by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to remain standing for our words of inspiration. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Reynoso.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this day and this community we live in. We ask to bless these proceedings, bless each and every one, give us a spirit of unity and direction. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you very much. Michelle, we are ready for a roll call.
Councilmember Anderson,
Here.
Mayor Milan,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Present.
Councilmember Scott,
Here.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Here.
Thank you. We are all accounted for. Would someone like to make a
Muscle
motion
memory.
to approve our agenda?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve. Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda for Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 as presented.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Scott,
Yes.
and Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Thank you. We've approved our agenda, and we'll move on to item number 6, which is public comment for items on the agenda. If you would like to speak to any item that is currently on our agenda, we ask that you make your way to our podium. We'll allot you 3 minutes. We ask that you give your name and your address, and we'll allow you to speak. Okay, not seeing anyone come forward for items on the agenda, we'll close public comment and move to proclamations and presentations. This evening, we do have a proclamation in honor of Parks and Recreation Month. Bear with me. Buried on the back page of the first page. Okay. Tonight, we're going to talk about declaring July 2025 as Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, especially here in Clawson. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, walking trails, playground areas, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation is a leading provider of healthy meals, nutrition services, and education. And whereas Parks and Recreation programming and education activities, such as youth enrichment programs, fitness classes, and senior education, are critical to physical and social development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction, and is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas Clawson Recreation and Senior Services hosting an open house at Hunter Community Center on July 21st, and whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, now therefore be it resolved that I, Paula Milan, Mayor of the City of Clawson, along with the Clawson City Council and the residents of Clawson, do hereby proclaim July 2025 as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Clawson. And You guys know if you are not using our Parks and Recreation services, you're really missing out on something. We have phenomenal leaders in Scott Jennings and also in Lisa Ball and the entire staff. They do an exceptional job with community outreach for seniors, and they also have good programming for children of all ages. And they're working hard to create parks and activities that are getting modernized and meeting the needs of the community. So if you're not checking out what they're doing, check them out on their website because they really are doing something. There's probably something you might just enjoy. So Scott, as you're here today, thank you for all that you do. We truly appreciate you. Did you want to say anything about Parks and Recreation Month? That wasn't stated in that lovely proclamation?
If I must.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, as you did mention, we're having an open house at the Hunter Community Center next Monday, the 21st, from 5 to 7 p.m. There will be a chance to meet not only the staff, but most of our instructors, and we will have demonstrations of some of the classes that we offer. There will also be inflatables from Oakland County. We'll have a couple of food trucks there, and it will be a blast, and it's not going to rain this year. Maybe. We also have another new special event that we're doing as part of celebrating Park and Recreation Month, and that is on Thursday, the 31st at Grant Park. It's been a while since we did any programming there, so we wanted to do something in the neighborhood that the people that live there can just walk to or ride their bikes or drive. And that is going to be in conjunction with Oakland County Parks, and it's a Camp Chill event. So there's going to be all these winter-themed things to try to cool off on a hot summer day, including making your own, I'm not sure if it's ice cream or some kind of cold snack something. And I have a couple of stats from the National Recreation and Park Association in regards to Parks and Recreation Month. And one of them that I love is 81% of adults look for high-quality parks when deciding where to live. And I think that is one of the reasons why Clawson is so popular and why so many people move here and so many other people want to move here because we've got a great park system and those that have gone before us have done a great job in setting aside parkland and in making it great. The other one is that I wanted to mention is 91% of people agree that parks and recreation are essential local government services. And as you can see, I firmly believe that, and I know that you do as well, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Any questions, comments for Scott? Okay. Well, thank you, Scott. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll see you at your open house Monday from 5 to 7. Next, we have consideration of approving the following consent agenda. Item A would be minutes of the special city council meeting held on Monday, June 30th, 2025. Item B, minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. And C, a list of bills in the amount of $687,761.31.
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Scott,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Great, thank you. We've approved our consent agenda. Moving on to item 9, we have new business. Under 9A, we have consideration of awarding the bid to the lowest qualified bidder, Great Lakes Contracting LLC, 2300 Edinburgh, Waterford, Michigan, for the fiscal year 2024 CDBG Sidewalk Ramp Program.
Madam Mayor, I move the bid for the fiscal year 2024 CDBG Sidewalk Ramp Program to the lowest qualified bidder, Great Lakes Contracting LLC, 2300 Edinburgh, Waterford, Michigan, 48328. The total award amount of $29,468.89, which includes 10% contingency, be approved as presented.
Support.
Nick?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This project consists of removing and replacing public sidewalk ramps to comply with the current ADA standards at South Custer Avenue and Madison Avenue. 7 bids for the reference project were opened on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. The low bidder is Great Lakes Contracting LLC with a total bid of $26,789.90. And this is from AEW. Based on our discussions with the bidder and their prior performance on similar work in the city of Clawson, we are recommending the city of Clawson award the program year 2024 CDBG Sidewalk Grant Program to Great Lakes Contracting LLC, 2300 Edinburgh, Waterford, Michigan, 48328 for the bid amount of $26,789.90. In addition, we recommend that a 10% construction contingency of $2,678.99 also be approved for unforeseen conditions. The total award amount would be $29,468.89. The city was awarded $30,188 in CDBG funding for these improvements.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I just have a quick question. We're awarded more than what we're budgeting for. Do we have to give the money back if we don't use it, or what happens to the money if we don't use it all?
So typically for the projects we've been doing in the last, I would say 5 to 7 years, is most of them tend to come under the budget that we get from Oakland County. And so when that happens, so previously there's been some of these projects that do end up going over. And so we just reprogram the unused funding towards this program year. And so I believe for a project 2 years ago, it went over budget, and so we were able to reprogram about $8,000 from previous years to supplement that project to ensure that we didn't have to.
So you
cover
kind
that.
of roll it forward?
Yes,
or
you're able to roll
back?
it forward.
Okay, gotcha.
And the county wants to see the money that's not spent expended as soon as possible. So this is common, so it'll likely come under budget, but, that remains to be seen.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just, it's an odd intersection, so it's not your normal four-corner, is it?
That's correct.
So you have, how many ramps are going in over there? Was it indicate?
I believe there were 10. I don't have that number on the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know if it's.
But all of the ones
I don't
that
think
are
it's
at
8, but it could be, but yeah.
All of the ramps are being replaced that are there, nothing's being added. So whatever's existing will just be replaced with the ADA compliant ramps.
Okay, so as we've replaced these types of ramps in the past, right, and it happens every year, right, have we seen an increase per ramp in cost?
I would almost say that the cost has kind of gone down.
Well, how come?
When I first came on and we were doing this, the projects were north of $30,000, and
Wow.
as we're seeing now, it's gone down. So it's one of the few projects that has gone down in price, or at least maintained in the general ballpark.
That's great news.
Roll call, please, Michelle.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Scott,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes, thank you. We have just approved awarding the bid to the lowest qualified bidder, which is Great Lakes Contracting out of Waterford, Michigan, for our fiscal year 2024 CDBG Sidewalk Ramp Program. Moving on, we are at item 9B, which is consideration of going into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268H, MSA 4.180018A of the Open Meetings Act to conduct the periodic evaluation of the city manager.
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Riker?
Madam Mayor, I will waive the need to go behind closed doors for a closed session for my evaluation, but I will give the context of the summary. The city manager is appointed by the city council, and per the employment agreement between myself and the city of Clawson, the council and myself shall meet at least annually to evaluate and assess the performance of the city manager.
So we have a motion that needs to either be voted on or withdrawn, right?
Or just say no.
Yeah, I mean, you can withdraw your motion.
Withdraw my motion.
Great. So we have,
So we need a new motion.
new motion, sorry, yes.
To do the evaluation.
Would you like to make that?
Madam Mayor, I move that we go into open discussion for the purpose of conducting a periodic evaluation of the city manager.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Scott,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Moffett.
Yes.
Great. So we do have a performance evaluation checklist that was approved by previous city councils that is in everyone's packet. It was also part of the public document, so if anyone's interested in those, how would you prefer that we proceed with this? Does anyone have a preference? We've done it in different formats. Should we go section by section, everyone share, or do you want to share all the way around? Mr. Raker, do you have a preference?
I believe last year you went one at a time.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole, we went through the
I think you
whole
did. I believe you
list, right?
Like you did, like, I think Councilman Shepherd went first and you just went from left to right across the dais.
Okay.
If so desired, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, I do not have a preference
Okay.
at all.
So I'll just be blunt, and that my comments from last year are very much similar to this year for each of the categories, and I'll list them as I go through, but so fives are considered to be excellent. Management of the organization for each of the duties described, I gave Mr. Raker all fives. Execution of policy, again, for those duties that are described, I gave him fives. This is for relations with the council. In my experience with Mr. Raker, it's been positive and dynamic, so I gave him fives on those categories. And in regards to communications, again, it goes in step with what are the relations with council, that I gave him fives on those. And leadership, again, fives in those categories, and for the categories for professionalism, again, fives. So I didn't have any additional comments regarding that.
Okay.
Well, Madam Mayor, in the interest of time, I'll simplify this. I'm going to say an overall rating of 4, although in communications, I'll give them a 5. I'm always quite happy with the fact I feel like I'm being informed, so I'll give them a 5. And so 4.2 perhaps overall.
Okay, awesome. Mayor Pro Tem.
So I have a quite different relationship. I don't have a lot of interaction with the city manager. Most of my interaction is here at council meetings. So I have several categories that I marked as not observed, but overall for management of the organization, I gave 2s. For execution of policy, a combination of 2s, 3s, and 1s. Community relations, I gave a combination of 3s and 1s. My biggest concern is that that when I raised the concerns that some residents had about infrastructure issues, and I phrased it wrong, saying that they don't get answers, and they do get answers. He does answer them. The answer is quite often no, and I think what we'd like to see is solutions versus just answers. Communications, I gave 1s because I hear a lot of complaints from the community about not getting answers to emails or getting condescending answers in regard to questions or things that they pose to the city manager. For financial management, I did have, not observed, but I do have a 2 because there's a lot of resistance to getting the bids. We've seen that in the council. There's a lot of argument that when we were trying to press for getting bids on different projects. Relations with the council, I know he has a great relationship with quite a few members, but I haven't had that experience. I do have issue with the refusal to do anything in writing. He always says you can call me and won't put things in writing. Again, under leadership, I talk about the need for answers or for solutions, not just answers. Professionalism, I did give him a 4 and devote time and energy to the job. I think he does that. And then as far as comments, I again gave him praise for his attempt at the last council meeting to hold the council to the charter, but areas for improvement. I think when the community comes to the city for solutions, they are told no or ignored, and there's not an attempt to address the concerns or problems. I hear time and time again. I mean, even at the short-term rental meeting, we heard someone talk about the concerns about their concrete and how they couldn't get answers. And so I knew that he would get a lot of praise from everyone else, but I thought it was important to sort of highlight some of the things that I've heard out there from the community.
Thank you. Councilmember Scott, I know you are brand new here, but I do think if you would like the opportunity, we can allow you to weigh in, at least with comments, because you've been active on the Planning Commission for the past year and a half, so you may have a perspective of our city manager from that realm, which is a little bit different, but it would also be a good picture of.
Sure, I'd love to make a few comments based on my experience. I don't have any rankings. I didn't do any of that. However, in my experience on the Planning Commission and dealing with city employees, all of the employees have been very positive. I think that's a reflection of Mr. Raker, and I think he encourages his employees to be respectful of folks. I haven't had the experience that Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt is describing, and some of the city employees they don't know who I am, and they've been very pleasant to me and to others that I've spoken to in my neighborhood. So for that, I kind of give positive kudos for your leadership of the organization and encouraging clearly your team to be respectful. It fears to me. So
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to do what no one else did and just kind of run through I want people to understand that are watching what the categories have within them. I'm going to read them out, okay? So under the first, management of the organization, it says effectively runs and operates the organization, creates a collaborative team-building environment for staff, recognize the accomplishments of staff and other agencies working on behalf of the city, supports professional growth and opportunity within the organization, accepts full accountability for staff and the outcome of city projects or decisions, and identifies organizational problems and takes remedial action. I personally gave him 5 5s and a 4 that's a 4 and a 5, because I'm always in between these things, because in my opinion, he has created an exceptional team among the administration. A team that not only works really hard on behalf of all of us, but also respects him greatly, and I think that is a sign of a good leader. So whether people agree perhaps with his delivery all the time, probably not, but I do think that he's created a trust situation by delivering well, and I think that speaks highly of his leadership skills. So that is the first one. On execution of policy, the categories are: understands and complies with policies and procedures governing the city, implements city policy fairly and consistently based upon council decisions, goals, and applicable laws and regulations, presents matters in a factual, analytical way, and coordinates council policy decisions to staff, departments, and other organizations in the community. This, I think he's very much a law and order. If it's written, we follow it, and I think that is a good thing. So I think his execution of policy is very strong. So I would rate him highly in all of those categories. Under community relations, we have makes an effort to understand general community issues and concerns, remains involved and active in the community, represents the city well in a professional and positive manner, works proactively with the media and press, works effectively with community organizations, including the DDA, the school district, regional authorities, and other agencies, and educates the community on city goals and services. I would also rank him extremely high on all of those. I think he has done an exceptional job, again, of engaging the differing entities that we have within the community to work to make them not competing entities, but to bring them together so that he can build a better system with our limited resources, capturing resources of the other entities, also facilitating kind of a brotherhood and a camaraderie so that we're not tripping over each other and duplicating services or ultimately missing out on services. So I would give him high marks on those as well. And he's also worked really hard to build community in ways that you don't see. He is not someone who gets up here and tells you what he's done, but if you talk to the organizations that are out there, they generally have a very strong opinion of him and his willingness to try and bring things together. For communication, we have ensures that council members receive relevant information in a timely and effective manner. Presents the council and community with clear and accurate written reports and correspondence. Responds to correspondence, requests, and complaints quickly and appropriately, and facilitates open two-way communication and encourages mutual honesty and respect with the community, council, and staff. And I understand Councilmember Moffat's comments and her concerns. I would say under this category, it's often a two-way street, and I think that's something we have to consider in how we deal with people, because I know me personally, some people are easy to communicate with and take a message delivered in a way, and I think we talked about this at our last meeting or the one before, but everyone doesn't take the messages that are given in the same way, and that doesn't mean they're given with ill intent or to be vague. I think he's done a great job of putting information out on the website so that you can track the progress with our water situation, the water jetting and all of that, and also that you can track the progress with the roads and the infrastructure that is going on. So I would commend him for those things. In communication, we can all use additional skills in maybe honing how we work with individuals, because it's an individual thing. Under financial management, properly prepares and manages the budget, demonstrates ingenuity and creativity in approaching budgetary matters, including long-range revenues and expenditures for the organization. I think anyone who's been on the council for a couple of years or watched this past budget season was effortless. And I was really pleased to see the department heads involved, sharing what their goals were for their department, not just for this year, but also for future years, and how planning today can take into effect what the goals are for the future. So I like the long-range planning in that, and I like the collaborative effort. I think that also speaks to good leadership. Relationships with the council. Provides regular updates to the council, keeping them informed about current and critical issues. Makes an effort to be accessible to council members. Handles issues that are brought by the council in a consistent and timely manner. Maintains an honest, truthful, and professional relationship with each council member. Keeps a positive attitude and approach to new ideas, issues, and complaints raised by council members. Again, I did hear the concerns raised by one of our council members regarding new ideas and new approaches. And again, I would say, what's the delivery and what's the impetus of that, right? Let's consider that also as a two-way street. And also, if you have someone who's planning and the information is out there, sometimes it can be frustrated if it's challenged. But I can honestly say, even in the time when Mr. Raker and I did not see eye to eye, he did listen to my concerns, and he was very respectful to that, and I do appreciate that. I'll go back to that and say, even when he probably didn't want to, he was respectful to me and the issues that I brought before him. So, and then these relations with council, 100% personal. I think you get out of a relationship what you put into it. It, again, is a two-way street. I personally would like to receive perhaps a little bit more information about what happens within the community. Not that you are obligated to provide that to us, but in speaking to other communities, they have a lot of varying information that is at their fingertips about just what is happening within the community, just statistical reports and stuff, but also not something I've asked for, but maybe something, if anyone else is interested, we could talk about for the future. But I do think you 100% make an effort to be accessible. I do not think you show up at anyone's door and say, hey, call me on Tuesday. We don't have check-in times, but I do believe that if someone needs something, that you'd be available immediately, within a relatively good time. Under leadership, we have provides the council and the organization with real solutions and creative alternatives to issues and problems. Assures the council decisions are thought out, objective, consistent with past practices, and are legal and ethical. Makes use of sound administrative practices such as organization, communication, teamwork, and time management, and leads the organization through effective management and people tasks. I give you high marks on all of those. I think that it's a personal thing to you to lead well. I think it's a personal thing to you to not fly by the seat of your pants in what you do. I'm getting a 3-minute time. Good job. But I have 7:50. Oh, I'm going to go by that. So 7:59. I think.
Good discretion.
I think you're extremely organized. I think you call on other people to be organized. I think if someone comes to you with a concern, with an answer, or at least looking at a way to resolve it, that you are good about that. And I think you deserve acknowledgement for that. On to professionalism, deals effectively and appropriately with the public and other organizations, devotes time and energy to the job, demonstrates high ethical standards in the organization, works to keep politics and personal perspective out of the decision-making process, and stays active in professional organizations and regional issues. I can't speak to the last one because I don't really know, how active you are in professional organization and regional issues, but I do think that you do try to remain professional. I do see how people might think that you may not deal effectively and appropriate with the public based on people's concerns and frustration about not being able to address a concern the first time, maybe not the second time, and maybe not even the third time. But I don't think that's a fault of yours. I think it's indicative of the concerns that we deal with here on a regular basis. And yes, you have a bad road, you have a place that floods. It's, as we said last meeting, it's not as easy as just taking care of yours to get it fixed. Therefore, there's frustration, and sometimes it seems like there is an impasse to progress or to willingness to get something done. I know one of my biggest frustrations is having to say to someone, I can't fix that for you. Like, there's nothing we can typically do for that right now because it's a longer project. But all of that works back to the fact that you have a plan and that you have equipped the staff to work towards a plan. And I'm really hopeful for the things that are happening. I think our DPW department is working really hard, and I think they've made some great strides in meeting our infrastructure dealings that we have on a day-to-day basis. I'm looking at Scott right now, looking at the master plan that you guys have for Parks and Rec, and just the ideas that are coming about what we can do to better those things. That's all being driven by a leader who's saying, let's take these things on next. So I think, Mr. Raker, you work really hard for this community. I think you are also proud of working for this community. You've taken some risks this past year alongside this council to try and implement change, which of course never comes good and is not always taken as a positive thing. But I do commend you for those things, and I think growth is hard. There are growing pains that goes along with growing, and I personally just thank you for your willingness to work with us and put up with our humanity as we put up with yours and work collaboratively, because I do think, I can generously say, if you're willing to be collaborative, that you're good about that. I think that's one of your strengths, and I think you are happy to see that happen. So I've said enough. Does anyone else have anything? Is there any staff here who would like to speak on this? I know it's not above, but I think it's fair because we work with him here and in correspondence. But I will tell you, I ask the staff, what's going on? How do you feel? And do they feel they have confidence in you? And I think that's a beautiful thing. And with the turmoil we've had in this community for the past several years, I am extremely hopeful that the things that have started will continue and that we will just continue to get better and better and stronger and stronger. And I think it is due primarily to your leadership and your willingness to work with multiple parties. So.
Madam Mayor, if I may add on to that, I think case in point is a relationship that you've been able to develop with the school district. That's been just an amazing thing to have happened. I was personally pushing for that for a while, and that you recognize what the importance was of making sure that we understand what the needs of the school district for whatever we can provide in order for them to be successful. So that was an awesome thing to see transpire, and that we're maintaining that relationship. And I appreciate that. The other thing, too, is to see some of the creativity that you've come up with and the collaboration and communication with our neighbors. That's in developing those relationships to understand that our place in amongst Madison Heights, Royal Oak, Troy, Berkeley, all of that is important. And the fact that if we just have a revolving door, we do not develop those same relationships. So that's been key in that fact that you've been in the lead on a lot of those issues. And I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'd be remiss if we didn't say that, you're not doing these things on your own. You have created a really exceptional team, and I think you're very generous about giving credit where credit is due. Nick's sitting there next to you, and if anyone works harder than you, it's Nick. And Nick might be working harder than you. I don't know. I wouldn't want to judge that one. But Michelle here, also strong supporter. Kristen, newcomer, almost a year at this point. She's amazing. If you could clone Kristen, we would be unstoppable all the way around. But I don't know. Anyone else? Do you have any comments for us?
Madam Mayor, I'll just end with first, thank you, council, thank you, Mayor, for your kind words and encouraging words. Councilmember Pro Tem Moffitt, I'll say the same thing I said last year. Communication's a two-way street. I end every email to everyone with the same commentary, which is, please contact me on the city cell phone if you wish to discuss. And my phone does not ring or get text from you. I do respond to your emails. But relationship building is a two-way street. It takes effort.
And I'll say the same thing I said last year. I prefer things in writing.
Okay, let's move on to our next item, which is item 10, unfinished business. As we have no unfinished business, we'll move to item 11, which is public comment for items not on the agenda. Good evening.
Good evening. Is this on? I don't have to do anything, right? Hi, I'm Dr. Jessica Back, 20-year Clawson resident. I'm not going to give my address publicly because of the streaming, but I'm happy to share it with the city clerk privately. I just wanted to make a comment about the evaluation. What I heard were a lot of opinions and not a lot of data or metrics that were measurable. And I think you really need to consider that moving forward. I don't know where you got your evaluation tool. I would recommend that you reach out to the Michigan Municipal League. I was a 9-year member of the Public Schools Board of Education. We relied heavily on the Michigan Association of School Boards for these kinds of rubrics and evaluation tools. And I think it would do everyone a great benefit to have something that's a little bit more measurable. I don't think, for example, Mayor Milan, that you shouldn't know if the manager is involved in professional societies. I think that should be very evident in his communications with you and his ability to provide that information. So I would just encourage you moving forward as you consider these evaluations to be a little bit more perhaps useful and more valuable feedback for the manager and the relationships that I'm hearing, that there's a lot of opinion. And I would have liked to have heard a little bit more detail and measurable outcomes. So that's my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually wasn't going to speak tonight. Hi, Heather Rinkovich from Clawson. I'm just going to piggyback on that a little bit because that's exactly what I wanted to point out. So, and it kind of goes both ways. I think it's only fair to Mr. Riker, too, that we have some sort of tool that we use, very much the same. So, again, this is rhetorical questions that I'm going to ask here, but I don't think there are tools because we do need some sort of system to score this. It's very important that there's a system in place to score things, that we have quantitative, not just qualitative information. So looking for tools that we can utilize to benchmark these scores for Mr. Riker, to be fair both to him, so there's not just opinions up here, whether good or bad, but to back that up for him, both quantitative and qualitatively. So I think it's really important that we have some sort of tool in place going forward to benchmark those things. So outside of just regular report, the only outside tool that I heard was social media. I think Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt mentioned that. So something outside of social media would be great. So strategic planning is something I've mentioned a lot. I think that would help too. Using strategic planning and budgeting helps in the evaluation process. So that would help us use with quantifying things. So anyway, that was very appropriate. I just wanted to piggyback on it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Jamie Gills, Takanouchi. I'm just coming up once again to say that it is illegal to require that we give our address. I don't know why we're still asking for it. It seems ridiculous to me. I don't know what you do with it, but we have addressed that again and again. Maybe that's an ordinance we should look at to change so that we don't keep saying that. Right? Why would we want to do something illegal over and over again? Because you can? I don't know. The other thing also is that I think the council should consider starting a process for a vacated seat. We are in violation of charter. We have been for years. It's time to do what's legal and what's right. So that's something you might want to consider taking up, right? It could be a possibility we need it in November. It could be a possibility we need it before. It's time to get that on the books. It's time to do what the charter says you shall do, which means it's a requirement for you to do that. I just want to say, you know, I find things that are against the charter, which other people, not the council, of course, because, you know, you run the city, but other people can be fined for, right? Somebody told me, and I don't want to see this happen, but I've been told by several different people, the only way to make you follow the law is to sue you more. So I suggest you look at your behavior, see where you're doing illegal things, and change it.
I'm ready. Been a while, guys, but we're gonna do it again. Okay. My name is Joanne McCauley. I live at 121 Renshaw, city-owned apartments, apartment 102. And I would like to give some of my experiences on Renshaw Apartment and Hunter Community Center / Parks and Rec / Senior Center. Those are two items I'd like to speak on. In February of this year, it was brought up to sell Renshaw Apartments. The council decided against putting it on the ballot for May for that special election. All right, so we were told that there would be an open meeting where we could actually discuss our feelings about Renshaw and put out the things that we know. That open meeting, I text Mayor Milan probably about 10 days after February 1st, and I asked her to let me know if there had been one scheduled. She returned to me, "Not yet, don't fret, we will make sure you are aware. Call me if you have any questions." With that, the budget meeting came up. I came because I wanted to see, I was getting interested in how Clausen is run. I wanted to see what it was all about. So three of us from Renshaw, and there was a few other people there. We had no idea that this was our open meeting. Talk about blindsided. That was for sure. We were able to speak after the, all of yeah, next page, Joanne, I'm coming, hang on. After all the other departments were up there with the slideshow, they got up and they said what they wanted, what they needed, and I don't remember if it was financial or what, but anyhow, there was like the fire department, the DPW, the city hall was included, the library, and there was somebody else, but the page isn't turning for me. But anyhow, they had people representing them, getting up and saying, hey, this is what we need. It got to the end, and they said they showed slideshow of Renshaw Apartments and Hunter Community Center. Nobody there to represent, nobody to get up, so we did. And we said what we felt. Going on from there, I want to say I have lived in Clawson for 63 years. I have been to time. Well, I'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a fast 3 minutes, guys.
Is there anyone else?
Hi, Erin Redmond. I live on West Elmwood, and I know that you're not going to make me say my full address. So I wrote this down. I just don't want to forget anything, so excuse me if I read fast. We have 3 minutes, and I hope my point gets conveyed. I come before you today not as a candidate for council or mayor, not for political gain, but out of a continued commitment to strengthen the integrity of our city government. At this critical juncture, the city council must ask, have you previously been provided information about whether an appointed candidate were in default prior to their appointment? Was this process practiced with all appointments and contracts, employees with contracts? If not, what has changed? You recently discussed an individual who has already been appointed, and he served on the Planning Commission. He served faithfully, and without warning or clearly communicated guidelines, a new standard was imposed. If the administration is now exercising a new authority to disqualify appointees based on a financial default, then all applicants deserve to be informed of this policy before they apply. Will they be doing this for candidates? For election, people running for election. In recent past, the administration stated they do not check for qualifying candidates. It's addressed through an affidavit. What happened felt targeted. It felt like a calculated move to discredit and disenfranchise a particular member of our community, an individual who has already been appointed. The individual took part in writing an ordinance and revising bylaws to increase transparency and public engagement. While he and I do not always agree on every issue, he has consistently handled disagreement with integrity, respect, and professionalism. This is who you chose to single out. What I've seen instead is a due process that is, what I've seen instead of due process is public shaming, treating a late utility payment as if it were a character flaw, rather than a temporary hardship or oversight. Is that how we define integrity? Worse still, it was done with questionable memory. In 2017, one of you received a water shutoff notice weeks before filing to run for council. The balance was paid in 2018. Councilmember Susan, you have publicly boasted on multiple occasions that you've never been late on a payment, and you have shamed members of our community. Those records are public. How we define integrity is what is right, and the definition should not shift with personal or political agendas. If you're a candidate who prioritizes an us versus them campaign built on shaming residents and volunteers, then you certainly don't represent me.
Time.
Please write an ordinance. I only got halfway through my letter, but I'll send it to you via email. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Hi, my name is Brent Wellman. I'm a 30-year Clawson resident. Forgive me, I'm a little nervous. I did not come here with the intention of speaking tonight. As several other citizens have already asked you, write an ordinance to fill these vacancies. Going forward, we are going to have vacancies. With a council that expands to 7 members, the likelihood that someone is going to have to vacate a seat, or even more so, the likelihood if this council keeps playing fast and loose with the charter that one of you will be recalled, there needs to be a process in place. What happened tonight was shameful as far as I'm concerned. I'm not sure why you felt the need to start, I'm sorry, what's the word I'm looking for here? Why did the city manager's evaluation turn into a rebuttal of anything that Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt had to say? She had just the same ability that anybody else did to give her evaluation, and there was no need for the targeted attacks against her in order to try and discredit her case. She may have had a different experience than you did, and that's just fine. She should have been given the ability to state her case, and you should have moved on and given yours without giving this opinion-based review that our city manager had. I thank you all for your time and for being here, but you guys need to get your stuff together. This is embarrassing.
Anyone else? Okay, that was, we will move on to our city clerk's report. Michelle?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just two things tonight, just to remind our residents of the city that there's always a need for, boards and commissions, applicants. The application's available online. So we do have a couple needs currently. We have an opening on our Compensation Commission, Historical Commission. So if anybody out there is interested in serving in some way the community, please fill out an application and get it to my office, and we'll make sure that it gets reviewed. The second thing that I have is that the Election Commission met tonight prior to the meeting to approve and discuss the consolidation of precincts 3 and 4 into a new precinct 3, and to change precinct 5 to the new precinct 4. A resolution is required at the state level, at the Bureau of Elections, to move forward with this consolidation. Once the Election Commission meets and approves it, then this is sent with a new map to the state of Michigan to review, and then we can then process new ID cards for all of our residents and voters once they finalize. So I just wanted to bring that to attention. You'll see more on that, because as soon as we get approved officially, we'll have the new precinct map available on the website, as well as the new locations where they'll be. So that's all I have.
I have a question. So we have a opening on the Planning Commission now that Councilmember Scott has resigned. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, city attorney's report, Mr. Neshai?
Madam Mayor, just a couple of items. We are currently defending a few lawsuits, and I wanted to give you an update at least on one of them. We have McNeil versus the city of Clawson, which was a slip and fall case. We've talked about this one some time ago. We received a new tax tribunal case. That's where a business in town is challenging their assessment this year. Those are fairly minor, as you can imagine. But we also received an appeal on the Jars Cannabis versus City of Clawson case. If you recall, that's the matter that was initially filed in the circuit court, and the judge in the circuit court matter issued a decision which invalidated the result of the election that was held last time around in Clawson with respect to cannabis. During that litigation, before issuing the opinion, Madam Mayor, the judge allowed an intervening party to enter the case, a third party. That third party is the party that has now filed the appeal. It's currently pending in the Court of Appeals, Michigan Court of Appeals. We're waiting for transcripts and everything else before, obviously, the work begins. But obviously, there was of some momentum last time around because it dealt with the result of the election. And I think since it is a continuing saga, I think we'll anytime we have a meeting and we have some activity, we'll bring you an update. But so far, I just want to let you know that it has been filed.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
City Manager's report, Mr. Raker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Usually I have a prepared statement. Unfortunately, I left it in the office. We are now at 64% of the city sewer line has been CCTV cleaned and televised. We still anticipate that it will be complete by the end of August. In the area of Dreon School and Langley, residents will start to see some AEW field reps doing some field work in preparation for some for the road reconstructions in that area, and also with the water main repair. Well, actually, water main replacement, I should say. That would be for construction year 26, so not this year, next year. This Saturday, the 19th, at sunset, we'll have Cinema in the Street. The movie is Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Thank you. There's so many I forgot. And then on the 26th, following week, from 9 to 1 is the Clausen Market again at the Southeast Municipal Lot. During that time, they'll have Copsicles, which is going to be an event from 10 to 12 where kids of all ages can enjoy popsicles and meet some of Clausen's police officers. Pending any questions, that's my brief.
Don't forget, there is a costume contest at the movie this weekend.
The members of the DDA and staff have some, it should be a fun, colorful, and lively event on Saturday.
Yeah, so if you have a Star Wars costume hidden in your closet and you have a hankering to wear it, Saturday night's the night, I would say.
Just a quick, on the 68%, that's on the camera?
64%.
64%. Right, that's just on the observable
And
collection? Okay, so it just, to get folks an idea of where that is right now, where in the city is that, or is that anything?
So actually, if you go to the city's website under DPW, and I should have mentioned this, under DPW, there is it'll say CCTV. You can actually click on the map, and they'll give you a percentage. It'll actually give you linear feet, and you can see that there's 3 sections remaining. One that is they're currently in, one that is remaining, and then one that is the next one. So there's what's left, and what they're currently in.
Have there been any surprises?
Thus far, nothing that is that detrimental where we would have to, now that you asked that. So thus far.
You know, we continue to get the emails from similar folks, right, as far as those, and I'm just curious as far as for their sake, that is there anything that's come up that says that's unusual for that space and so forth? And
so far, no, sir.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Okay, that's all.
Hey, Councilmember Scott, do you have any comments as a council member this evening?
I'm proud to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. But that's about it. I'm good.
Very nice. Mayor Pro Tem?
2 comments. Number 1, in regard to the personal attack, I will say that I have never received a water shutoff notice. I've never been in default to the city in any way, shape, or form. I have a credit rating of 825. So just putting that out there. I would also like to thank the 2 members of the community who spoke up. That's something that I have asked for when we talked about goals, that we needed quantifiable, measurable goals. I didn't make any comments this year because we fought the fight last year, but it's great to hear that other people are on the same page with goals and ratings need to be quantifiable and not subjective. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Anderson?
No comments.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Just want to give a shout out to CYBSL as they wrap up another successful season. The 14U team, unfortunately, while they were in the championship game, they did fall short, but made a heck of an effort. But I do want to bring up one thing, and this is a concern that has been mentioned tonight, and I've heard it from a couple other people, at least starting a process, what we need to do for the vacancy. One of my concerns is, if we don't have something in place, and the last time, not last time, but previous times, it's been brought up that we go back to the last election and concern ourselves with the next highest vote getter. Well, that's good in theory, but what if there's not somebody who actually run, right? Or that person who did get the highest vote is either not a resident or other circumstances that they're not available. So do we keep on going down? Those are the types of things that concern me, and I would like to see if that we can, as we go through the ordinances, see if that can be moved up and addressed a little bit sooner. Because as I echo the concern for November, that's a potential. So that could be something that could be looked at. Okay, thank you.
Great. I'd like to address comments that were made during public comment. Although this our review might seem completely arbitrary, and you may have felt that comments were simply opinion, they're not opinion based on the fact that we interact with each other. We're involved in the budget hearing. We're involved in the processes of the community, and also based on the fact that each one of us was given the goals and objectives of this body put forth as a mandate to our city manager to uphold in his day-to-day operations. So those things are quantifiable, perhaps not in the format you would like to see, but they are, and that information is not subjective. And I think it's pretty easy to see when progress is being made in the first place. So I think that, could there be room for improvement on this review? Perhaps. It could be a different format. There was a lot of conversation when council came up with this one. I do some of this stuff for a living. There's a bazillion ways you can do all of these things, and you can have the same outcome. So as long as it meets the need of the board, and the board feels good about it, that's what we're going with for right now. But if you have questions or concerns about any of those things, feel free to shoot us a note. We'd be happy to answer them. And regarding my comments, having to do with the comments that Mayor Pro Tem gave, I wasn't critiquing what her comments were. I was, the areas she had concern, I had slight concern in myself. And those are based on primarily personal interaction. And I was acknowledging that. And that's all, not defending myself, not tearing her down, and not doing any of those other things, but that's what reviews are. And reviews are from the vantage point of the person giving them, and I get that. So I really appreciate this community. I appreciate the people in this community who are positive, uplifting, and happy to be here and encourage others. So I ask each of you who are here that are doing that to continue and just continue supporting each other. Show up Saturday night downtown, be part of one of the great things we're offering, be part of the Star Wars thing. Get your dinner downtown, support one of our local businesses, come in a costume if you want to, make a lightsaber if you want to, and just have a good time with this community, because this community is exceptional. And with that, I'll call for a motion to dismiss.
Motion adjourned.
Support. Roll call, please, Michelle.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned. And it's only 8:30.